Hello, good evening, and welcome back to some Dark Souls. We are going to resume where we left off, which is, I find, is always a good place to resume, rather than resuming from somewhere else, which I think would not count as resuming. So, we left things. We had just killed Quelaag with some degree of expertise, which is quite surprising. This is Quelaag's sister. I'm not going to kill her yet. I may kill her once I've lost all purpose for this bonfire, because she is a firekeeper, and I'd quite like her soul. If it's all the same to her. So, yeah, so we've got a few housekeeping tasks to do, and then we're going to Sen's Fortress. So, first thing I want to do is spend all of this XP. Really? I'd also like to go and pick up some Firekeeper souls, because I'm somewhat overdue for a couple of Estus flask upgrades, and there are 2 Firekeeper souls that are just sitting around, which I can pick up. One of which, well, actually both of which, kind of rely on me not wanting, not having a problem with dying, because they are quite tricky to get to. One of them I can easily get to and live if I have a shield and dexterity. Unfortunately, I only have a maximum of one of those. So, what do we want? What do we want? I think I'm taking those to 20 to start with, and since that's about all I can manage. I mean, I might no, I don't need to level up yet. It occurred to me there is actually, and we picked up last time, the soul of Quelaag. Boss souls are very handy. They can be, certain weapons can be crafted from a +10 weapon of some particular variety and the relevant boss soul. And Quelaag, I can actually make a rather nice sword from, actually 2 of them. There is a Chaos sword you can make from a katana, which I happen to have. There's also Quelaag's Fury sword, which you can make from a +10 curved sword. What I don't know is whether you can parry with Quelaag's Fury sword, because if you can, it would make a ridiculously excessive offhander. It would actually be a really good main hander. In fact, if I was playing this on New Game Plus, it would be very tempting to go ambi Quelaag's Fury sword, because that would be just silly. Also, it would probably it would not be very useful on New Game Plus. It would certainly be tricky towards the end, and it would be of no value on New Game Plus or plus, because you can just keep playing Dark Souls. It's one of its interesting sort of features, is you can keep playing and keep leveling up as long as you like. Which is kind of fun. If you're really enjoying a character, you can just round them out more and more, pick up more abilities, expand them out as much as you want, really get all the points you want in everything. So if you're invested in the character, you can just keep investing, you can keep playing. It does get quite tempting to switch up and play something else, but yeah, you've certainly got the option, and it's something once I find a character I'm really happy with, I'm going to do that, or I'll go back to one of my existing ones and do that, or I'll finish some of my existing attempts at New Game Plus. I haven't got a plus yet, I must admit. I've always been spreading out, doing more, trying different combinations, that sort of thing. But anyway, do I want 20 in endurance and 20 in vitality, or I think I'll go 19 and put a point in strength. Good, excellent. Right, so it's kind of tempting to go down and just kill off Ceaseless Discharge while we're here, because 2 reasons. 1, he's very easy to kill, and we happen to be here. 2, he's very easy to kill. I think that counts as 1. But also, just beyond him is some rather nice armor, which it's kind of tempting to grab. Not because I need it all the time, but really just because it's got good, it's only got good fire resist. I'm fairly convinced it's got fairly good magic resist, and that could be handy in upcoming fights. So, yeah, so if we go this way through Lavaville, we can get to Ceaseless Discharge. Now, you can see all this lava is actually, there is a route through here further down. Down is a predominant direction in Dark Souls, as you probably guessed already. But the lava is in the way, and the reason for the lava is Ceaseless Discharge. He is kind of master of lava. He tends to exude it in some fashion. So I'm going to take him out because he's quite easy to kill. Now, there's a way that I do it. I don't know how many people do it this way. I've seen people kill him off very easily in a way that I've never actually tried, with kind of one shot, which is kind of confusing. It's almost tempting to try that, but I do have my own safe method, which I quite like. Well, relatively safe. So that's the man himself. So I'm going to heal up. There is no point. We can't parry. We can't parry anything here. Now, this is quite tricky because I need to aggro him, but if I'm too far forward, he's going to kill me. That didn't feel like it hit. This is about as close as I dare get. Okay, we're going to have to dare more. Yep. I was lucky to survive that. Now he is on the way. This is my method, so this little area, I'm sure there must be other people who do this. This is how I personally like to kill him. He should appear here shortly. Anytime now. There we go. There he is. Now, when he lurches, there we go. He's going for big impacts. So we're just going to chop him a bit. And I'm going to watch for the lurch. I'm really doing no damage. I normally don't kill this guy till later. Okay, now he's going to go around the other side because I was too far over. I don't want him to do that because I quite like him here. As it happens. Wait for the lurch. There he is. You've got to watch that somewhat. I think that's a lurch. Yeah, it's gonna be. So this is somewhat laborious, but it's pretty safe, which kind of makes up for it. Come along, Ceaseless. Okay, I left that a bit too long. I think without the roll, that might have hurt a lot. There's obviously some sort of arterial claw, because it is doing him serious damage. Well, very, very slowly. He's not sure what to do. I think he's just kind of aggravated. I kind of over-egged my getting out of the way there, I think. He's not the most exciting boss. I mean, as you can tell, this fight isn't deeply tactical. He only really has one attack I need to worry about, which doesn't hit me. Which is kind of why I like this solution, really. No, come along, Discharge. Don't go around that way. Let's be having it. can hit you round this corner if you don't quite go far enough, so you can't literally just step gently around the corner, because his claw does clip through the rock. So I've been talking about hitboxes quite a lot, and I may not have been clear what I mean by hitbox. So normally, in a game like this, and quite specifically in this game, the kind of physics controls whether the game physics controls whether or not you're going to get hit, and game physics doesn't work off the realistic character model which you can see. So he's obviously very detailed, has lots of appendages, but largely, so it's not his actual claw which determines whether or not he hits me. You'll see in Dark Souls generally, you tend to have to move it further than you might imagine. Certainly further than the physical appendage of the boss actually goes. And that's because the physics runs off a different model, if you like. So it's a simplified version. So, and that's animated by the guys who animate the game characters in the same way as they animate the game characters. But it doesn't necessarily have to match the kind of physical look or location, and it generally is just a box, because boxes are mathematically they're not so much mathematically as mathematically really easy to work with. So the game will be comparing your hitbox versus his, and so yeah, that's literally when I say hitbox, that's all I mean. It's just the physics representing his the position of his attacks. And different attacks will have different hitboxes. So the Ceaseless Discharge is now over. You might say it's ceased, I imagine. The lava has drained away, and this gives us access to the lower levels of this area. There are actually magic doors. There are kind of orange portals blocking our way to more advanced areas, and that's because we haven't killed a certain set of monsters yet, which we will get to, but they are in the area after Sen's Fortress, and once we've finished them and done a little bit of housekeeping, then we'll have access to all areas of the game, apart from some of the very, very final areas. So that's what I came here for. That is the gold hemmed black set. It's kind of Grim Reapery. It's really quite nice. As soon as you can get that as soon as you've killed Quelaag, really. And you can come down and get to Quelaag as soon as you can get into Blighttown, which, if you've got the master key, is straight away. So if you're particularly heroic, you can come here, kill Quelaag, pick up her soul, pick up a lot of XP, and get that very early on. I wouldn't try that, but I mean, if you effectively, people do that at soul level 1, so they do it quite early on. You just need a really upgraded weapon, so it'd be worth, if you're going to do that, visiting the depths to pick up the large ember. But again, you don't have to go all the way through. If you have the master key, you don't actually need to kill the boss that shall not be named from my spoiler video. Because even though that gives you the key to Blighttown with the master key, you can go in the back door, so not required. So you could come here and pick that up early on, because it is quite stylish. As I mentioned, if you're a spellcaster, I mean, that set is very good. It's also very good if you're playing a more melee character, because it's very light. And this armour I've got on is pretty light. I'm just going to ignore these egg-laden fiends. They're only more aggravating if you kill them. It just gets worse. They don't really do anything to you, so I just leave them alone, because killing them can have consequences. Already hit that bonfire. Let's just go up again. And I might just spend some more souls. I mean, yeah, what I'd really like is to have a lot of souls and access to some Large Titanite Shards so I could upgrade my weapon. But we don't really have that option, so I should just spend this XP at the previous bonfire. I'm going to spend it now, why not? Can I get 2020. Yep, 2020, 14, 14. I like that. Sounds good. I'm trying to avoid quite as much indecision as I've been exhibiting recently. Some might argue that some sort of forward planning could avoid that, and you know, those people would have a point. But I really don't want any souls on me now, because I'm going to try and go and pick up the Firekeeper soul so I can upgrade my Estus flask, which will increase the amount of healing I get per drink. Because I'm only at +1, and we could easily be at +3 by now. So we're going to leg it back through my least favourite area. We do have to go a little bit further in than if we're just going to the exit. I might take this opportunity to show you where the red robes are, which are very nice. But we shall see. I might just go to the Blighttown bonfire first, purely so I don't have to run back through this cave again. It just saves a bit of time. Bearing left. Same reason I bore this direction before, because I don't want to get involved with the giants. I can also run around here, and there's some nice stuff you can pick up, and there's some nice shards. If you have pyromancy, there is a pleasingly advanced pyromancy trainer around here, just across from this point. In fact, ooh, Large Titanite Shard. Okay, maybe I do want to hang around here if there's more of those. I could also go to Shiva and buy another katana. I like having 2 of a weapon in case I want to level them up differently. I still haven't quite determined whether the katana can parry. I don't think it can, based on the animation it was giving me when I was trying to offhand it and was too weak. So that just really, for the most part, just to avoid the poison damage. So let's see. I think that's an attack. Maybe not. Well, there's one way to find out. One way to find out. Let's just go and stab this thing. That's a parry. So I can parry with a katana, which is interesting. Does make it tempting to go dual katana soon-ish. The thing is, I'd have to then plus that at least my main hand katana up dramatically, because they are lovely weapons. I mean, that parry is nice. It looks like quite a long parry as well, which, if the parry window, again rather like hitboxes, if the window of time during which the game is going to consider that I can parry, if that actually corresponds to that animation, unlike the frickin' scimitar that I've been using, where the first and last bits of the pointlessly pretty sword twirling don't actually correspond to a parry window, complain. You know, if it does match up to that, that's kind of nice. But I'm betting that that bit, the first swing back of the animation, isn't going to be a parry, and the parry will be the next bit, which may mean it's just as awkward. Not sure. Be interesting to try anyway. But, so what we're going to do, we've picked up this bonfire. I'm going to go and get that Firekeeper soul before I forget that I wanted to do that. This is the way out as well. Now I am being pursued by insects. If you're up this section, the insects don't bug you quite as much. They'll still try and bug you, no pun intended, but it's mostly when you're wandering around at kind of ground level that they try and make your life a misery, and there are several sets of insects. They spawn on different parts of the level. They will just keep respawning. if you're talking to an NPC, they don't attack you, which is kind of nice to know. Especially since you're already being poisoned, so having something else trying to poison you and bite you. Yeah, there we go. Oh crap, I do need to be down there. So insect death is going to have to manifest here. That could have knocked me off the edge, but it didn't. Okay, this... I don't know how I'm going to do this little bit, because my normal methods of doing it are kind of predicated on having a shield, so I'm probably going to die a lot. Oop. I need to be up a level. So that is toxin. That is not poison. That is fatal, fast-acting, deadly toxin. And we're toxic. Now, I have just picked up some antitoxin. I'm going to use it. If I can get there before I die. You can see that during that brief interlude, that cost me. This is going to be hard without a shield. It really is. But I don't really have anything to lose. As long as I don't stand still. I don't care what else happens here. That's all I wanted. Firekeeper soul. I'm reasonably happy to die at this point. And that's probably what's going to happen. I'm not going to try and preserve my souls. I'm not going to be clever. I'll try and get out, but I don't see it being very likely. What with the fire and the toxin. Everything around here is so dangerous. Did I mention I hate this area? I don't think I can quite emphasize. And it is actually fun to do. You know, it's that sort of pleasant, genial kind of hatred. Okay, you're spitting darts at me. I'm already toxic. Do I care? No, because I'm already toxic. What else have you got? Oh, stop hitting me with darts. That's just not sporting. It's just not sporting at all. Yeah, it's half tempting just to save myself a walk and die of toxin. But we'll try and get back to the bonfire. I may just have a quick poke around for pleasing items, because large Titanite Shards would be very welcome, because they would help me upgrade. Although I can actually buy said things, said upgrades shortly, so perhaps not as vital as you'd imagine. This is the first time I've just wandered around casually with toxin, but I don't really have anywhere pressing to go, so I don't have to go a long distance. So that's fine. The nice thing about the guys who do spit those darts is that if you kill them... Oh, I forgot about you. They won't come back, which is pleasant. Still kind of interesting to me that those mobs don't really give you any more XP than some of the first skeletons in the game, for example. Large solar crab knights. Yeah, I'd quite like some of the items around here. Just kinda would. Do I want to kill those things? I'm going to encounter giants if I go this way. But as long as I can encounter one giant at a time. So these fellas are quite interesting, he said, dying to giants. Okay, so he was kind of immune for a lot of that. But he's not immune to being stabbed up. Pickaxe is quite nice if you're a strength-based character. Quite a nice weapon. If you want something strength-based that isn't a big two-hander. Or a cheeky backstab after a triple large right attack. It would be nice not to be in water here. Is he coming this way? No, we're lifting again. He's going to chuck that at me now. He's blown up his rock. Oh, but he has an infinite supply of rocks. Why am I not surprised? I think we'll fight him on the land. The land seems like a better thing to fight him on. So they aren't too bad, those fellas, if they're one at a time. But you really don't want to end up in a big rock fight. Yeah, another great strength weapon, so very strength heavy around here at the moment. I'm probably going to have to get out a bow shortly. You can see I'm kind of poisoned at the moment. It's an occupational hazard, but with a full set of flasks, and especially if you've got heals on you, as I happen to have, I am going to switch that onto my other hand and equip my longbow in that hand. I can buy some more arrows shortly. It's a lot easier to shoot them. You can hit them, only you've seen me hit a couple. But they can attack you from mid-air. And it's just a little bit vexing to try and get the angles and that sort of thing. So I think it's about here. Yeah, I'm fairly sure if I'd advanced sufficiently in pyromancy, there would be an NPC here. It's certainly behind one of these pillars. I think it's sort of second from the back on this side. When viewed from Quelaag, so not the first pillar but the next one. We're kind of more poisoned. Thanks. Thanks for that. Yeah, so insects, constant fun. So this bit here is the way that you would come down. Oh hell. This is that little ramp section is very difficult to get up this side, not only because of the Jesus. Not only because of the toxin-spitting mobs, But there's insects, and there is a toxin spitting guy. He's very hard to kill from this side. He's a lot easier to kill on your way down from here if you came the proper direction. It's filled with those fire-throwing bitches. So it's not pleasant, really. If you want to see most of Blighttown, it is much easier to come in the front door and just suck up the pain of probably being slaughtered by the big fat guys with their clubs, because you have to fight them on very narrow ledges if you come in the front door of Blighttown. So, leech. Leeches are fine. They don't do a lot. You don't really want a ton of them on you because they will probably stun you to death. I'll just chain stun you unpleasantly. And there are some little traps in this area, just with more leeches than you would imagine is pleasing. So we are going to go up that little ramp. But first of all, we're going to clean up around here. So the leeches can drop Titanite as well. Green, I think. No reason to do that, really. They don't always, as he is cheerfully demonstrating. We're going to get poisoned again momentarily. That's fine with me. I'm just going to suck it up. No, being gently poisoned, I can live with. I don't see many videos of Dark Souls which bother to do this stuff. I can kind of see why. It's perhaps a little bit, a little bit tedious. What with all the slow movement and the leeches and stuff like that. Yes, 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 yes. I know you're all clever. Ooh, item, item, item. Large Titanite Shard. See, that's worth it already, because we've now got 2 of those from this area, and that is a weapon upgrade to our current weapon. I bet that message says something like trap, because if you've already walked into it, need wings. Yes, very good. Very droll. I bet that message says, you just pulled too many leeches, you fool. Slight problem. But there's very little that can't be resolved by rolling cheerfully. Yeah, so let's have these one at a time. I'm not afraid of using arrows, really. Yes, if I were doing this a lot, again, rather like going excessive pyromancy and just burning everything down, it would somewhat defeat the no-shield aspect, but oh, I forgot about you. But I don't really think it's a problem, given the amount of work we're doing here. Oh dear. Oh, that was this is getting very laboured. Oh my god, he's still alive. What? Come on now. Oh, and he's already coming. That's fine. Very good. So it just leeches as far as the eye can see, really. Thank you, auto-targeting. Nearly pulled 2. Is that a giant? No, it's just a rock formation. And I'm shooting nothing. For some reason I thought this rock formation was a giant. Clue, it isn't. Longbow is a very good weapon. A crossbow is a lot easier to switch in and out, but it doesn't give you options like the fine targeting. And there are nice things you can do with the longbow, like free aim, which are just nice. Though I think we might use a sword. Server, very big two-hander. Again, it's a strength-based weapon. As far as I know, it's not one of the most exciting strength-based weapons. It's not particularly great, so that was a bit of a waste of time. But that's okay. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of exactly where everything is, so I don't mind having a bit of my time consumed. And besides, they could have dropped Large Titanite Shards, you know, quite easily. They didn't. And it would be good if we didn't get all of these at once, because there are 3 here. And then I think that's all we really need in terms of leeches. I think there might be 1 more pair. Just in case they're guarding anything interesting. I think they might be, actually. I think there is something that you can fall off this bridge on the right of us and grab. Oh, hello. That's an item. It is an item, isn't it? Come on. Large Titanite Shard. It's totally worth it. I'm suddenly very pleased that I killed all these leeches, because that was worth it. Because even when you can buy those shards, they're expensive, and it would cost. I can get 1 from the right vendor for the amount of souls I'm carrying. So up this little bridge, there is a plank shield, which isn't particularly good. But if you do this, as I discovered, where are we? Here? Yeah. So I actually found this, which I was quite pleased with. In here, there's a nice Twin Humanities. One thing I didn't find, but I learned by reading, is that if you then do that again, then you can get onto this area. Now the Great Hollow, has some interesting sort of novelty mobs in it. It's part of the Prepare to Die expansion, so it wasn't in the original version. I've been in there for a bit, I've gone down a bit, I found it a bit tricky because it was on my first playthrough. I haven't actually been back since, and I think I kind of cheated a little bit and tried to find out online roughly what sort of stuff was down there, and elected to not bother. So most of the game as I've played through it, I've tried to make sure that every boss I don't kind of I don't learn anything about it until I face it for the first time. And ideally, I'll have a damn good try at killing it before doing any looking stuff up. Yeah. Swords better than bows at close range. And it is much nicer playing the game that way. You know, it's much nicer finding things out for yourself. And to be quite honest, you know, there are bosses in the game where, you know, you go and try and kill them, you die 20 times or so. Ooh, that was a shock. That was quite a surprise. It just shows how careless it is to get playing this game. You know, I was just assuming I would win, which is a stupid thing to do in Dark Souls, because that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. No, how it works is you die unless you're paying attention. But yeah, so my point was, even if you do, you know, you get frustrated, you look up a boss fight, maybe you even watch a video and you watch somebody killing the boss. You know, there are videos, probably for most bosses, of people doing a superb job and doing, you know, no damage runs versus certain bosses, and just generally being terribly effective. And then you think, cool, okay, I know what to do now, and you go and try it, and you still die. Because it's not actually what you have to do that is the particularly tricky bit, and you can figure that out. You know, I mean, oh fine, height issue. You know, you can go and figure out what to do. It's not that much of a big problem. It's not a big deal, but because you just study the boss. You know, no boss has more than half a dozen sort of fairly unique moves that are telegraphed uniquely. And there may be some which do. There may be some. There's doubtless some bosses who have certain moves that I haven't seen. Yeah, so it's really just watching them, and you actually learn more fighting them, far more fighting them than you do watching someone else doing it. Because it's the feel of it, and it's the timing. It's knowing, you know, okay, you know you've got to roll away, like, you know, Quelaag, you know you have to position yourself in a certain place, and a lot of it is then, you know, rolling in the right direction, you know, when certain things happen, you've got to move away, that sort of thing. And that's fine, you know, that's fine, you can learn that, it's fine. But, doing it is an entirely different thing. It really is very different when you've got to do it, and the execution is a lot of it. You know, it's judging the timings, and it's kind of just feeling comfortable trying to do that. We're obviously next to an insect spawning point here. Oh, I picked up a leech. And he's dropped some Titanites. We have more pressing issues. Did I get that item? No, I didn't actually pick the item up last time either. Okay, well let's have these one at a time again. And I'll try and do this a little better this time. Although this guy, we're going to be cutting it pretty close with this insect. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Wasn't particularly effective, but, you know. Since I was overconfident last time, I'm going to take this a bit easier. I suppose ultimately my sort of point, if if I can work towards having a point about boss fights, is a lot of it really is just down to practice, which sounds like one of those trite things that people say that's completely unhelpful. But it's a case of getting killed in different ways and watching how you got killed, and knowing where leeches are. And kind of trying not to walk into leeches. I mean, that's also a critical part of success, really. Fine, just consider me stabbing you to death. Okay, enough of this. Enough of this leech-infested pit full of parasites. I don't know which cruel-ass designer came up with this area, but they're evil. Evil, evil, nasty, wonderful, creative people. I think maybe they decided that the sewer level wasn't enough of a bastard, and they just wanted to give you some more of that, you know, or perhaps the game just didn't have enough brown in it. Because, you know, brown is underused in most AAA titles. You know, you don't see a lot of brown. And I feel that Dark Souls has really you know, brought us back to some old school kind of browns and beiges, sort of tan kind of colours, which is you know, it's nice. And that's fine, and I'm glad you're dead, and yeah, should we just leave now? It's quite a good plan. Do I just want to buy another katana when I'm here? I might, because I might want to go and kill various people. And I think having two katanas would be a good thing to have. How dead are we? Not very. Good. It is quite possible to die of poison damage while talking to a vendor. I just thought I'd mention that one. It's kind of embarrassing when it happens. It's very embarrassing when it happens, but it you know. So Uchigatana. The washing pole is a slightly different variation. It's not actually as crap as it sounds, it's actually very good. Do I want anything else from here? I don't think I want to go show towels. I might do a show towel character at some point. I don't feel this is the one. But Uchigatana is a fine weapon, and I'm going to have another one. I like having two. East Woodgrain Ring. Yeah, you see, it's not that one I want. East Woodgrain. Isn't that wood looking particularly easterly? I don't get that. The Dark Woodgrain Ring is the one I want off his bodyguard, which is the reason that I might at some point stab him up viciously. Particularly if it's before the end of the game, because that has some quite nice mobility abilities. Yeah, I don't need anything else here. I just don't. Demon Spear isn't worth buying here, you can pick it up in a couple of areas anyway. Do I want another katana? How many katanas do I really need? And I might, conceivably, if I really did go katana, I might want one for the main hand, one for the offhand. I'm just going to buy it now. I mean, what else am I going to do with souls? Buy useful upgrades? Let's go name the soldier. Is that 800? Yeah. So, and then a tiny soul, lost undead, will be 200, hopefully. So that's 5k.
I've cut heavily.
Okay. I have all the katanas in the need, in the need that I need in the world. In the world need. We are so out of here. Now hopefully, I won't be back to this area. Not this playthrough. And there was something really... oh. But I will be going back up the stairs. Just rank incompetence. That's really just... You know, how hard is it to get off a lift at the right point? I can kill Quelaag, but using an elevator, you know, that's pretty tough. My complete lack of souls, but there is a humanity there, so... Slightly irritatingly, it is kind of tempting to... Yeah, I think I may have to go back to Firelink. See, the other Firekeeper soul, which I want, is in the new Londo Ruins, which is on our way back. But if I die there, as I kind of intend to, because I'm not sure, the only other alternative would be to actually try and kill the things that will show up when I grab the soul, and I don't really want to burn the item that I'd have to burn to do that. It kind of gets complicated in new Londo Ruins. It won't be too long before we're going through there, but I kind of feel that firstly now is not the time, but secondly I would like... do I want to do another run and grab that armour? I might just show you where it is, because it is kind of nice to know. I haven't actually seen anyone else grab it at the start of the game. I'm sure people do. I have. So all you need to do is pick up the master key at character creation, run your way in here, run past the 3 fat guys, get down to this level, and then you can see there's a sort of angled platform here. Jump off that. You'll land on that guy, and I wouldn't advise fighting him if you're just doing a run here at soul level 1 at the game start. Just don't bother, just get on the ladder. You can get away with that quite happily. Get to the edge, jump down, sprint down here. May as well grab that, and that is in fact the item you need. So that's the Crimson set right there. And this, if you're doing magic, I think that's some sort of... I don't even know what that does, I can't remember. I have played one sorcerer type, using intelligence-based proper magic. If you have done a run from the start of the game, best thing to do here is die. There aren't really many options here other than death. You can't actually get off here nicely once you've fallen down. In theory, you can go across here, but I'll show you what usually happens if you try, which is this. Oh, okay, that is the first time that I have ever managed to get up there, ever. I've tried, you wouldn't believe how many times I've died trying to cross there. Well, that's very handy. Good. Yeah, so that's what you do. Just do that. It's that easy. How hard can it be? Because it's a matter of timing and guesswork, and I may watch that back just because I'd be curious to see exactly what I did there. I kind of did what I normally try to do, which is to sort of roll in the right direction, sort of, and kind of jump at the right point, kind of. Yeah. See, I really want that soul, but do I? Okay, I'm making an executive decision here. I am not actually going to bother fighting any of these guys, as you can see. And if you're coming here the other way at level 1 just to grab the robes, which look very cool, I have to add. If you're going to play a magic user, it just makes you feel good, you know, rather than running around with slightly brown equipment at the start. Then yeah, you really don't have to fight them. just get the hang of pressing B, red, if you're Xbox, or whatever the equivalent ass backwards PS3 equivalent is. I am kind of tempted to buy a PlayStation for my next console. Just because I keep finding that the exclusive games I want to play seem to be PlayStation titles, whereas Xbox games do tend to get ported to the PC with a bit more regularity. So even though we do have to go back down momentarily, I'm just going to stop at the bonfire here so that when I die, I'll respawn at Firelink and I won't have to go down to goddamn Blighttown ever again. Right, let's grab that Firekeeper soul. And once we've done that, I'll be calling this episode, I suspect, because it's already pretty long. Conjunction doesn't move. Yeah, that's because it's already here. Why am I pressing the lever to summon the lift that I'm standing next to? So again, if you're doing this at game start, there's quite a nice thrusting sword here. The Estus is a nice weapon, slightly heavy. Rapiers are a little bit easier to wield. We are coming back to this area. So I'm not going to do anything notable now. In particular, I'm not going to try and fight these phantoms here, despite their attempts to tentacle grab me. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm going the wrong way, that's what I'm doing. So there's an invisible walkway here. We're just going to run through, grab the soul, and suicide. Again, you can do that very start of the game. Really easy. Good way of netting yourself an upgrade from the start. I don't know why I didn't do it this time round. Really. It's, I should have done that. It just prolongs your game start a bit. So, I can reinforce with 2 Firekeeper souls now. One from Blighttown, one from elsewhere, one that we just picked up in fact. And that's that. So we're now at +3 Estus. We've got some more large shards, so I could go and upgrade my weapon further. I'm not going to do that right now, I don't think. Instead, I'm going to call this episode right there, and then next time round, we're going to Sen's Fortress, which is quite a fun area, so I shall look forward to seeing you next time round. Until then, ta-ta!